Now, she's the most powerful leader in Europe, but is known in her home country as Mutti, or Mummy. This weekend, Angela Merkel will attempt to emulate Margaret Thatcher and win a third term as Germany's leader. While much of the continent faces economic turmoil and civil unrest, the country has remained largely untouched, with an export-driven economy that is booming compared to its southern neighbours. But as Germany soars, Europe looks for someone to lead it through the crisis. Our Europe editor Matt Frei has been to the town where Angela Merkel grew up to find out if the unassuming pastor's daughter from East Germany could also be Europe's saviour.
In Berlin, even the moon is feeling full of itself, and who can blame it? Unemployment is at its lowest in 2 decades here, and the world is still buying made in Germany. The beer tent set up next to the central station is heaving with good cheer and tankards to match. Outside, even the call of nature is celebrated with fairy lights. Presiding over it all is a pair of giant hands, courtesy of the ruling Christian Democrats. You may not recognize this gesture, but everyone in Germany does. The fingers belong to the woman who's led the country since 2005 and hopes to carry on, Angela Merkel. Chris was 13 when she first came to power. Now he's a student of maritime engineering. His dream is to build cruise ships, and he gets the Chancellor's hands completely.
I think they signify assurance for Germany and for Europe too, of course. And Germany is in a leading position, I think, in Europe, because we spend so much money on other countries. I think these hands will lead our country better than anyone of the other party.
No one else has hands like Angela Merkel.
It is.
But if Angela Merkel is the queen of Europe, she's a very reluctant one. She basks in her 65% approval ratings at home. She loves the nickname Mum, perhaps because she has no children of her own. But leadership, or Führung in German, is a concept spoiled by the excesses of the past. To understand what makes her and Germany tick, you should visit her hometown of Templin, in what used to be the communist East, and take a good long look at the windows. Solid German windows that keep out the drafts of history. Once asked by a tabloid what in Germany made her proudest, Angela Merkel said, "Windows, well-sealed windows," with no hint of irony. It's behind the windows of this house that Angela spent her youth. Her father was a local pastor who'd moved from the capitalist West to save souls in the communist East. Her mother was a teacher. Behind these school windows, Angela Merkel discovered her love for quantum physics, while also excelling at Russian. I spoke to her former Russian teacher, Erika Ben.
Als junges Mädchen war sie immer fleißig, war ehrgeizig. Und ich denke, diese Eigenschaften haben sich auch bis in die heutige Zeit erhalten. Sie hat ja sehr viele Wahlauftritte gehabt, hat sich durchgesetzt.
So she's basically summed up in her memory Angela Merkel as someone who was kind, quite reticent, kept to herself quite a lot, very clever, very hardworking, very ambitious. And the other pupils were quite envious of her academic excellence, but never held it against her because she was a nice person. And she thinks that's essentially the root of her political success. If she was running for president, she'd vote for Angela Merkel because she likes her as a person, she just doesn't like her party's politics. Such are the quirks of democracy. But in a system that's always prided itself on earnest policy debates, this election has been dominated by the reticent personality of Angela Merkel. The city walls of Templin, the most remarkable thing about this otherwise rather unremarkable town, because they have stayed intact for 7 centuries of revolution, of upheaval, of wars, and in a sense they mirror the appeal of the local hero, Angela Merkel. Because she too, in a time of great turbulence in Europe, is offering the German people a sense of safety, of reassurance, of continuity. And here's the irony that comes with that. Just as Germany has become stronger, exporting its goods all over the world, its politics travel less well. The memorial to the synagogue that was burnt down here by the Nazis is a discreet reminder of a time when German politics did travel disastrously. The country's journey has been from the banality of evil to the banality of the benign. These hands may well end up driving Germany again. But can they ever drive Europe?
Well, Matt joins me now from outside the Reichstag in Berlin. So she's way ahead of any other politician, but is she home and dry?
Well, that's a very good question, Jackie, because in this rather tricky and complex electoral system, where essentially you wield power if you can cobble together a coalition, the two coalition blocks, the centre-right and the left, are essentially neck and neck according to the latest polls. But if they are neck and neck, and if the SPD do better than expected and the left want to rule, that would mean that the Social Democrats would have to eat their words and form a coalition with the former Communist Party, now known as the Party of the Left. And they have said they would never do that. However, if they're prepared to go back on their word and they do as well as the polls suggest, then maybe Angela Merkel won't be in power. But to be honest, the most likely scenario most people still think is that either she will rule with the same coalition that she had before, or there will be a coalition of the Social Democrats and the Christian Democrats, a grand coalition. The point is this: if you're in Greece, Italy or Spain and you're looking for dramatic changes from Berlin to come out of this election, they ain't gonna happen anytime soon. Back to you,
Matt,
Jackie.
thank you very much.